This podcast contains explicit language.
Holy merd.
This episode of Dorking Out is brought to you by The Daily Bugle, New York's most trusted tabloid newspaper, with morning and afternoon editions 5 days a week.
Houston, flight is go.
Milo, let's go. SPM. Safety contact.
From Assignment X, thesoniashow.com, and Amalgamated Storytelling, this is the Dorking Out Show, the podcast for people who love stories from movies, TV, books, podcasts, and everywhere else.
Welcome to episode 92 of Dorking Out. This is the Kinky Phantom Thread Review Edition. With me today is my co-host, Emmy Award-winning filmmaker and nerd author, Christopher Allen Smith.
And with me today, you know what? Maybe we're going to have to pull out that nerd author thing, because I just spent 2 days writing this. We're on the downslope to the 2-year anniversary of this show, and that authorship is still coming.
Here you go. Here. I'll just go ahead and I'll just strike that out.
For now. No, just leave it there. It's aspirational, but I just want to tell the audience, the listening audience, that I feel guilty for putting it in there. It was one of those situations where it's like you take your cap off and throw it over the fence, so you have to climb over and get it, and that's a way to get something difficult done. If I plant my flag out there, I'm a nerd author. Yeah. I better get the damn book done. Well, here we are, 18 months later.
It's not working.
It's not working. I'm working hard, but it's anyway. Sorry. With me today is my co-host, professional writer who actually writes, and author who actually has a blog, thesoniashow.com.
That I write on.
That she writes on. Sonia Mansfield.
Hello.
Well, you know what? Here's the thing: is I keep writing. I'm still writing, but then I turn back and rewrite, and I'm just. Sorry, Sonia.
You're boring me. Stop boring me and everybody. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, that is not gonna. Are you referring to a certain Western-themed podcast who recently reviewed this show? Is that what you were referring to with that little jibe at us boring people?
No, I'm just saying you're boring me.
Oh, all right.
No, I'm just kidding.
Jesus, ow, God. Ugh.
I'm kidding.
I know. Finally, a major.
Why don't you tell people what we're talking about?
That's what I'm doing. Stop interrupting me. I just literally just started the first sentence of the intro, and here you are. Anyway, point is, finally, a major motion picture.
Hey,
yes,
Smith. Tell people what we're going to talk about.
By one of the most lauded filmmakers working today, and starring Daniel Day-Lewis in his supposed final performance, has opened around the country, so that we plebes in the hinterlands may finally see this movie months after the critics and the Golden Globe voters and the Oscar Academy have seen it. They have digested it. They've made their decisions. But finally, we little people get to see this movie.
We're so lucky. Yay!
And
please, sir, can I have some more?
Not so fast, Sonia. That movie, of course, is Paul Thomas Anderson's The Phantom Thread. If I sound bitter, I am a bit. Any Paul Thomas Anderson movie, like Boogie Nights, Magnolia, Punch Drunk Love, There Will Be Blood, or Inherent Vice, is something to be paid attention to. Even if they do not always land in a satisfying way, I'm looking at you, Inherent Vice, and The Master. And any movie with a Daniel Day-Lewis performance is something to be cherished because they don't come along that often. He is a Meryl Streep level of actor, probably the best of his generation, who's still trying. Yes.
You think she's not trying? Is that your suggestion?
That is not my suggestion. That is my flat statement. Having recently seen her performance in The Post, go and watch it. You will never find a more mannered performance outside.
I disagree. You're out of line.
I am very much in line. Point is, so we have this movie about a dressmaker in the 1950s in Britain, come out in New York and LA in November, but we haven't been able to see it till the latter half of January. It's irritating.
It is irritating.
All of that being said, Sonia, In our
Yes.
pre-show texts, you said that you were very interested in chatting about this movie. What did you think of Paul Thomas Anderson's The Phantom Thread?
Well, okay, here's why I really wanted to talk about it with you. And it's like the first line in your notes. So I don't want you to think that I stole this from your notes.
That's okay.
Which is, I saw this movie and for days I was like, I don't know how I feel about this movie. I really had like some back and forth with it. I was like, do I like it? I don't know if I like it. I couldn't figure it out. And I think because I've been thinking about it for so long, I'm leaning towards I like it. But I have to say, I didn't read anything about it. I didn't watch any trailers, nothing. So I
Right.
kind of didn't know what I was getting into. I had a vague idea of what it was about.
Right.
And maybe like halfway through the movie, I was like, oh, is this the movie it's going to be?
Exactly.
I did not know that was what this movie was going to be.
Here's the thing.
And so it kind of I was like, okay. So I kind of went along for the ride, but it's not where I thought it was going, which is good because we see a lot of movies that go exactly where you think they're going to go.
Right.
This did not do that, so I appreciate that. But I didn't realize that that's the movie it was going to be. And the tone leading up to that didn't suggest to me that that's the movie it was going to be.
Right.
So it took me a little while after I saw it. Like I posted something on Instagram like that I was at the theater seeing it, and a friend commented, he said, I saw that in New York a couple weeks ago. I still don't know what I think about it. And I was like, yes.
You know what?
Yes.
This might be a very short review that we're doing on this, because I feel like I might have to see this again to really get it. And we are not going to spoil it here. You know, sometimes we talk about
not
things in
everybody
spoilers.
can go, because people can't go see it.
A, not everybody can see it, but B, you know, sometimes we do the little spoiler cue. You can sit on the episode until you get the chance to see it, and then you can come back and see it. We're not going to do that here. At least my thoughts are, because this is such a unique movie, such a strange movie that does take such an extreme left turn that I don't even want to hint on. Well, you know, it's a hard movie to pin down, and usually when a filmmaker gets to the level of a Paul Thomas Anderson, they get more and more into themselves and either kind of wall themselves off, I feel, from the general audience, and I'm going to use an example that does not buttress my case here, like a Wes Anderson, where they just get so wrapped up in their own thing that they kind of spin out of the mainstream of the discussion or advancement of film, and they're off doing their own thing on their own island.
I don't think that's true of Wes Anderson. I would say that that's true of someone like Woody Allen.
Definitely of Woody Allen. Oh, definitely. But what I was going to say is, or they get so particular and so good that nearly every movie they come out with, even if you don't like it, you better watch it, and you can't dismiss it easily. I would put for action filmmaking, I would put Christopher Nolan there. The performances of Daniel Day-Lewis, who we're going to talk about here in a little bit, because this is supposedly his last performance, or he's announced that this will be his last performance, they're so iconic and put together in such a careful, spectacular way that to treat them like any other movie or any other performance is just, it doesn't work. These movies are not meant to be, I'm going to walk into the theater, sit down, I laughed at this part, I didn't laugh at that part, I was kind of bored here, next, that kind of thing. These are not those kinds of movies. That being said, The Phantom Thread starts out as a story about a very particular kind of person in a very particular situation doing a very particular job and really getting into this. Then about halfway, he's a dressmaker at a very high-end dressmaking house You know, that's the thing is
And that stuff is really interesting, by the way, because and we've talked about this before. It's really cool to see, like, when people, like we've talked about, like, what we call it, competency porn, like the idea of seeing somebody who's really good at their job and like kind of learning something. I don't know much about that stuff, so I thought that stuff was really interesting. All I know is I like to buy dresses. I have a whole closet full of dresses I don't always get to wear. Right. So I thought this was really interesting.
Yeah, and it was really interesting. And you know, what I think is so fantastic about it is, so, you know, Daniel Day-Lewis, the first few scenes show him kind of in the end stages of one relationship. He goes on to the next relationship. Then it looks like, oh, we see where this is going. This particular very exacting guy is also very kind of brittle and tender and can't stand to have his order upset. You know, and everybody around him is trying to keep him in this certain bubble of creativity because, you know, he's
an artist.
He's an artist and he's whatever. Which I want to come back to in a minute. Then the movie takes a left turn where you think, oh, okay, this is a story about how men who are put in certain positions treat people around them and what happens when the people around them that are kind of getting stepped on to allow them to do these special things that supposedly only they can do, start to push back. But then it takes another hard left turn that I'm not even going to hint at, but for me, it kind of drove the movie into a little cul-de-sac, which is, oh, that's where we're ending up. I thought we were going on this journey, and it turns out we're just driving to just here. And it's interesting. I like the first 2/3 of the drive, but now we're just kind of stuck in this cul-de-sac, and everybody here seems to be happy about where we went to. I'm a little underwhelmed, but, you know, to take this metaphor to a ridiculous extreme, when you have a Formula One world-class driver drive you into a cul-de-sac, it's kind of like, oh, great, awesome. It was an experience I'm going to tell everybody about, but can we go someplace else? Anywhere? Yeah. Can we? Are you sure you meant to stop here?
Well, so you think the movie is, he has a muse, and what happens when the muse starts pushing back?
Exactly.
Basically, is what you think it's going to be. And then it turns into a movie that's much more about relationships and control and trying to turn someone into the person you want them to be.
Right.
And those are all great things to talk about. It was very interesting how they went about it. I wasn't expecting that.
Right.
So, like I said, I didn't know how I felt about the movie for a long time, but because I'm still thinking about it, because I still think it's so interesting to talk about with people, it makes me like it.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, and I'll admit, I think I can speak for you when I say this about our reaction to this. This is a review where our review is, you know what? We don't know what to tell you, people.
You're going to have to see it for yourself.
We don't have an answer for you. Go check it out for yourself. That's kind of the thing.
I haven't seen Punch Drunk Love in a long time. But I think this movie might have more in common with that one than, say, There Will Be Blood.
Maybe. I find it exceedingly interesting that you are even tacitly comparing Adam Sandler to Daniel Day-Lewis.
Well, I mean, about
I do. I get it. I totally get it.
About unusual relationships.
Right. Yeah. No, I totally get it. I totally get it. And
I will say Daniel Day-Lewis is, of course, he's really great in this movie. Like, duh. Of course he is. He's really great. But I want to say how much I really enjoyed Vicky Krieps, who plays Alma.
who her name, I'm sure it's Krebs, but it's looks like it's spelled crepes.
Cripes. I like that. I feel like Daniel Day-Lewis, he can come across as he's very serious,
Right.
obviously, and he can come across almost like, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't want to say cold. Cold's not right, but like
Particular.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe this role isn't that much of a stretch for him, but like I like that she is. I feel like she softens him.
Right.
Not just the characters in the movie, but I mean her and Daniel Day-Lewis. Like, I feel like their interactions together soften him
Right.
in a way that like we haven't seen in a Daniel Day-Lewis performance in a long time.
Yeah. I think so. I think
You would never describe like his characters from There Will Be Blood or Gangs of New York as particularly soft.
exactly. And that's what's interesting about this is I think, I'll admit this is a kind of movie that we don't see a lot of anymore.
Right.
And because of that,
This movie might have been made by like Merchant Ivory back in the day.
exactly. And I'll admit I might have my critical story decoding, psychological decoding machinery for films like this, for me, might be a little rusty. Because I definitely have a feeling that the turns that this takes in the later innings, none of them are really spelled out verbally. And there's a lot of interesting psychological stuff going on. He takes an interesting psychological turn that I did not see coming, and I want to go back and kind of see, is there something that I missed, or is this, we're lauding Paul Thomas Anderson and filmmakers of
Or
this caliber.
is this the part where it just rains frogs?
Well, yeah, exactly. Or is this just the part where Paul Thomas Anderson forgot a scene or was thinking about something that he thought he communicated and he just made a mistake and he didn't, and the movie takes this weird, crazy left turn and that's it? I don't know. One thing I did want to say that I thought was really interesting, and I was kind of bummed that it dropped this, is there is an implied judgment or discussion of fame and celebrity in this movie that I think is sorely, sorely needed these days. But then because of everything that happens later on, it goes in this other direction, because it seems to me there used to be, and I am not one of these people that looks to the past for examples of how we should be, because almost everything in the past, in one way or another, is not as good as it is today. Everything gets improved. But it seems to me there used to be a rough hierarchy of how much we let people get away with versus what they contribute to society. And it seems very strange for a guy like this to get away with as much as he does, get away with treating people the way he does and all that. And it could just be that I'm not into fashion and dresses. It's like this guy gets away with murder for somebody that just makes dresses. He is in
his relationships?
In his in his relationships and in the way that he deals with people and the circles that he runs in. It's like this guy should be curing cancer for as much of a dick as he is. You know what I mean?
Right.
And,
well, I think in relationships, just some people put up with a lot of bullshit.
I guess.
And I'll say, like, it's so funny. I was talking to my friend about this the other day. For a bit of the running time of this movie, I was really relating to it because I've been in a relationship with someone who is like, I'm an artist and like just basically a real asshole. Yes. Like an asshole who's like, I'm an artist.
Kind of a wussy, would you say?
No, I'm not even talking about him. I'm talking about someone else.
Shit, who are you talking about?
And he treated me like shit, and I put up with it because I was like, well, you guys don't understand and whatever. I was an idiot, basically. Right. And so I was like kind of reading a lot of my past into the movie. So I'm wondering if that's why I was so gobsmacked by where it went, because I was like, I would have never done that. I don't want that.
I'll admit it. I will definitely admit to be the sometimes in certain instances in my life being the I can't handle this right now. I'm trying to keep 15 creative things going on in my head, and I'll be kind of kind of crabby, kind of an asshole, kind of mean. Thank God my wife isn't really into arty movies like this, because if she saw this movie, I'd be in real trouble.
I mean, I am 100% like the girl who would be sitting at the table, like cutting her toast too loud and like crunching the food. And, this guy would be like, for fuck's sake, I'm trying to, I need quiet. What? I'm just eating my toast.
Yes,
what
exactly. And part of me is thinking, Daniel Day-Lewis, if you're going to be this much of a prick to your girlfriend, you better be an open heart surgeon. You better be saving
lives. By the way,
lives.
the guy I was going out with, he was none of those things, and also not very talented.
Oh, wow. I'm going to have to talk to you off mic about this. Anyway.
Yeah.
I just found it interesting that this is the level, that the thing that he's contributing to society. Pretty dresses, I get, they're great. The amount of privilege that is handed to him because that's all that he does is crazy. But
that's true. That's 100% true now.
It is. Well, it's even worse now because
Michael Kors could get away with like a bunch of stupid crap like this, probably.
Who?
He's a designer.
Oh, all right.
I'm just thinking of someone from Project Runway. I don't know shit about design.
Okay, yeah, no, maybe. No, all these people, I guess my point is, we've talked about this at several points. Actors are greatly overrated as interesting people in our culture. Producers, directors, and writers, there's a very sliding scale there of how interesting we should find those people and how much of a prick we should allow these people to be, because I love movies, I love TV, I love books, but what they contribute to society, mainly TV and books, mainly TV and movies, is, we could do with a lot less of it, and I don't think anyone would really notice an absence in their lives. But yeah, I was gobsmacked a little bit about how much a guy like this gets away with for sewing some pretty skirts.
How dare you? He makes dresses.
Whatever. Fine. He makes fantastic dresses. If my kid has cancer, I want his chemotherapist to be a dick to everybody so he can get to the hospital on time and save my kid. If you're not doing that, ease up. Be a little bit nicer. Don't take yourself so goddamn seriously. She's just eating toast. You know what? I'm almost thinking we should just stop talking about the movie at this point and just say, go see Phantom Thread and let us know what you think. I feel like, and well, you know what? Let me step back. I will add this.
I have other things I want to ask you.
Okay, yeah, I'm going to add this, and then I'll answer your questions, and then I think I'm going to be done. Which is, it is entirely possible that when I go back and examine this movie and kind of really try to pull things out, there's a nothing burger here. It's a collection of great scenes. It's a misfire in the story. It doesn't connect up, and it's a fantastic, energizing performance by Daniel Day-Lewis that amounts to nothing. It's entirely possible that's what's going on here. But it's kind of like there are certain directors, or you have those certain friends that they're usually...
See, I think it's the opposite. I think if you went back and watched it, you would love it even more.
Exactly. Yeah. No, but I just want to say, for people who are going out to watch it, there's two possibilities. One, it's great, and the more I watch it, the more I love it. The other is it could be nothing.
Which is true of any movie.
Yeah.
So take with
but
it what you will.
So that's all I'm going to say. Outside of that, go watch it. It's interesting. I find it exceedingly weird that this is Daniel Day-Lewis's supposed last performance, that this was the role he chose to go out on.
Yeah.
But anyway, Sonia, what else were you going to say before we
I
close
wanted
this
to
out?
ask you. Well, one of the things I like about Paul Thomas Anderson is I think his movies have always surprised me, and this one also did that.
Right.
So maybe I shouldn't have been surprised by the surprise, but I was. I wanted to ask you, what was your favorite Paul Thomas Anderson movie?
Oh, it's definitely either Boogie Nights or Punch Drunk Love. Well, you know what? There Will Be Blood is so good. Boogie Nights is just so much weird fun. You know what? Now that we're talking this through, it's got to be Boogie Nights
Yeah.
because that firecracker scene is
Yeah.
so unnerving and crazy and
Yeah.
just electric. They don't, a scene like that comes along every year or two or three. They don't come along that often. And that's such a bizarre, weird, very funny, and very dark movie.
Yeah.
That is, I think, one of the things that I'm getting kind of sad about with Paul Thomas Anderson is, The Master, which he made a couple years ago, he seems to be getting less funny. Or having less room for humor in his movies.
Right.
And there's humor in The Phantom Thread, but it's very deep down and
It's very
subtle.
dark.
And subtle and very dark.
Yes.
So
What did the
yeah,
audience think of Phantom Thread when you saw it?
I couldn't really tell. I saw it at a small movie theater here in Chico, California, which is it's the art house here, and it's kind of a big living room.
Yeah.
It is a very small theater. They liked it, or they seemed to like it, but I actually didn't stick around too much. What's your favorite Paul Thomas Anderson movie?
Probably Boogie Nights, although I there's some stuff in Magnolia that I super love.
Yeah. I need to see
Like I
Magnolia
super
again.
love.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's definitely Boogie Nights. It's an amazing movie filled with characters that I super love and care about.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why that firecracker scene is so crazy and everything that's going on around it too with all the other characters, because I care about all of them so
Yeah.
much, and I'm very scared for them and very nervous for them and don't want bad things to happen to them. And I think it's amazing when a movie can do that,
Yeah.
especially with characters that, I don't know, the stereotype is one thing,
Yeah.
and they make you think something else. And there's a lot in Magnolia that I just love. Like, I feel like he put his heart out there
Yeah.
in some way in that movie, and people kind of rejected it, but I really liked it.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, what was I going to say about Phantom Thread?
What did
God damn.
what did your audience think of it?
Oh, that's what I was going to say. So I saw it at the Alamo Drafthouse here, and I heard a lot of, like, throughout the movie, there was like weird, like, nervous laughter.
Mm-hmm.
Like, is that funny? Is that supposed to be funny?
Right.
Like, they didn't, like, people didn't know if they were supposed to laugh. Like, there was
Right.
a lot of that. And then when it was over, the people around me, because I saw it by myself, so I was being nosy asshole and listening, and a lot of people were like, I confused. I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that there was going to be dark comedy, but everyone seemed to agree that Daniel Day-Lewis is awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which he is, duh.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it was just so funny. Like, kind of everybody was like, I don't know what to think about that. That seemed to be the general reaction. But I almost started laughing out loud at other people's, like, nervous
Yeah.
laughter, just because I'm a weirdo and I thought it was funny that people were like, is that funny?
Right. No, I get it. There was well, you know what? I don't want to say anymore. Now that we've seen the movie. So it's funny because I usually at this point in the show, I ask you a question that irritates you quite a bit.
Yes.
Which
Will you
is,
ask me for a number?
what's your number score? But I'm not going to do it this time because in my own head and in my own thoughts, I could see myself giving this a 5.5 or an 8.
Yeah.
It's like I don't know where we're at yet. It's like it's like Schrodinger's movie.
Yeah.
Where
I keep thinking
it
of
sucks and
Boogie
it doesn't
Nights.
suck at the same time. Anyway,
I
sorry.
keep thinking of Boogie Nights and Magnolia and how I thought Boogie Nights was so amazing. I still think it's amazing. And then I saw Magnolia, and when I saw it, I remember thinking, there's parts of it I really liked, but then what the fuck was that? Like, what happened there? And I didn't know how I felt about that. And then I went back and watched it again, and I was like, no, I like that, and I like this movie. And then I think it was one of the first DVDs I bought was Magnolia.
Okay.
So that I could watch it again. And I think, I don't think Phantom Thread is as showy as Magnolia, but I'm wondering if on repeat viewings will I appreciate it more.
Right.
Not that I don't appreciate it now, I do, but I think it might be one that grows on me.
Right.
And like Magnolia did.
Exactly. All right, Sonia Mansfield, is there anything else that you would like to say about Punch Drunk Love? No. Is there anything else that you'd like to say about the Phantom Thread?
No. I don't know what else to say.
Exactly.
Except I liked it? ?
Go see the movie?
And I'll say goodbye.
Bye? The Dorking Out Show is on Twitter at Dorking Out Show, where you can also find me at Jet Juergens and Sonia at The Sonia Show.
And you can read all about my random adventures at my blog, thesoniashow.com, and track the slow, creeping process of Chris's novel and his other hijinks at jetjuergens.com.
Yeah, you know what? Go right over there right now and see how much is going on jetjuergens.com. Anyway, it'll be fun. It'll be like a trip back to 2016. Anyway, you can find out more about the Dorking Out Show at dorkingoutshow.com, and while you're over there, you can support us by giving us a review on Apple Podcasts. Please, for the love of God, for some reason, Apple Podcasts holds our destiny in their hands, so go over there and give us a rating, please. Sorry.
We would do it for you. We have a handy link on our website. It'll whisk you right over there so you can gush your love all over us.
This is disgusting.
It's disgusting.
Why did you write it like
I think
this, Sonia?
you wrote
I
it
didn't
like
write
that.
it like this. I don't like this.
We would gush love all over you and your podcast.
Yeah, we would do that. Anyway, point
Gushy.
is, I think we might be re-recording this here in a moment.
Gushing.
Jesus. What kind of podcast are you turning this into?
One that people will listen to.
This has been a presentation of Rocket Spots Media.